Okay, so on Memches Summit Base, Tanra Banan, about halfway down, a little less than halfway down. Tanra Banan, Haruge Malchus Nechsein Lemelech. There's such a concept of Haruge Malchus that the king, it's the inverse of the power of the king to pardon. If someone is a murderer of Malchus, the king can execute him, not in the regular Bezdin thing. He could make such a decision. Haruge Bezdin. So if someone is killed because of being a murderer of Malchus, not only does he get killed, but his belongings get confiscated instead of going to his Yarshim, they're taken by the crown. Haruge Bezdin Nechsein Yarshim. Someone who gets one of the Arba Mises Bezdin, he gets all his belongings, his possessions, go in the normal manner to his Yarshim. Yehuda says no, the king also has no ability to confiscate someone who is a murderer of Malchus. He can't confiscate his belongings. It also goes to the Yarshim. Amulayla Rabbi Yehuda, talking about Achav. Achav killed Navais because he was a murderer of Malchus. And it says that he went down to the vineyards of Navais to be Irish them. So you see, he was taking the belongings of Navais because he was a murderer of Malchus. So how could you, Rabbi Yehuda, say that it goes to Yarshim? Amulhen ben Achi Aviv. No, the king who killed Navais was actually a relative of Navais, so he was a Irish. He was a son. He was a cousin, the son of his father's brother. Therefore, it was royally Yarshin. He was someone who was Yarshin him in the normal manner. In fact, Navas had a bunch of sons. How could you say that his cousin was the Irish? We know Navas had sons. His children were also part of the rebellion, and they were also killed, and therefore they were not able to Yarshin Navas. If I didn't see, he was saying, if I saw the dam of Navis and the dam of his children. The Rabbanon, why do they object and say that it must have been, this is a raya, that a melech is Yerush from a Meirid? He says, the Pasuk seems to says that the Banim were also killed. So who Banim Haruyin Lotzes Imenu? When it says as Demei Banav, it doesn't mean his actual children. It means he was killed, and therefore those who could have come out from him, you basically murdered his ability to have future descendants.
I'm assuming that even though in the story it was all a sham, and Achav and Izabel were not like the most righteous of people, to say the least, but the fact that he went down there is like just showing that he had a right to do that.
Yeah, you're right. I hear your point. You're saying he was a horrible person.
Yeah,
but I guess every king
anyways on his own initiative. It's not like
there's always well, as we're going to see, the way he killed them was through a lie. He claimed that he was a Moirid, but you're going to see the Gemara is going to say in a minute that he had to get public opinion on his side. He wasn't able to do whatever he wanted without thinking about it. You'll see from the next Gemara that clearly there were some restrictions. He didn't just do what he wanted. According to Manda Amar, that says that the Yerusha of a Moirid goes to the king. That the case that Achav made against Navis was that he said that he was Mavarich, which is a euphemism for Makal. He claimed that Navis both cursed the Rebbeinu Shalom, Chas Shalom, and the Melech. So that was the reason why he had to say that he cursed the Melech. He could have just said he cursed he just was Beirach Hashem, and that would have been enough to get him killed. So why do you have to say also Melech? It was in order that he should be able to yarshin his possessions. According to Mandama, that it goes to the Yarshim. What does he get by adding on a second false charge? Instead of just saying Berach Alikim, he says Berach the Melech. So Gemara back, according to you, that you said he said Melech, that he was Mavarach the Melech in order to get that Achav said Novice was Mavarachim in order to get his possessions, what do you have to say the part about Berach Alikim? It must be the reason why he said that he was a blasphemer was in order to get people worked up against him. So he said, he answered he added on the charge that he was a Mavarach HaMelech, even though it wasn't necessary, because anyway, a king is not Yerush, but he added it on in order to arouse the anger, to get people mad at Novice, to get public opinion on his side. So it's very clear that Achav did not have full authoritarian powers to do as he pleased. He had to get the will of the people on his side. As as we're seeing in this country right now. You see in 3 weeks, once if you have the people on your side, you could do things that no one was able to do for decades and decades. It turns like that. And it all depends in the end on the will of the people. So kings were not immune from that. According to the Mandama that says that when someone is married with Malchus, his possessions are seized by the crown. So Yoav was a general of David's, who then became a general of Shloimeh's, and he killed Avner. Avner was also a general, and essentially it was as we're going to see later in the Gemara, there was a competition between them, and he decided to kill him. Whatever he had his reasons. We're going to go through what his reasons were, but the bottom line is Yoav killed Avner, and Shloimeh perceived that as a merida, and therefore he commanded he should be killed. So Yoav ran away to the Mishkan, and he put himself on top of the Mizbeach, and he refused to come down. And he said, I'm not going to go away because I want to die here. So if you hold Nichseim LeMelech, the reason why he did this, because he knew that if the Melech kills him for Meridim and Malchus, his possessions would not go to his children. So he said, I want to stay here. I want to be judged by the Sanhedrin. They'll decide whether I'm roy to get Mises Bezdin. But I don't want to be king upheld by the king. Why did he go climb up on the Mizbeach? What did he gain from it? Well, that gives the obvious answer. It keeps him alive. The guys are running after you with their spears. You do whatever you can to save your life. You're not necessarily thinking long term. But now, once we start this story, the Gemara goes into great depth about this story. Vayesha ben Yo as a melech davar lemer. Ben Yo, who was the one who was sent to chase down Yoav, he came back to Melech Shloimeh to tell him what happened. Koi diber Yoav. This is what Yoav said, and this is what he answered him. Amalei. So Shloimeh said to Ben Yo, Zil Amalei Tarti. I'm sorry. This is Amalei. This is what Yoav said to Ben Yo. There's a lot of people in this story. Yoav said to Ben Yo, Zil Amalei Tarti loy sabit. Go tell Shloimeh, you can't do two things, Bahai Gavra and myself, meaning about Yoav. Ikat lele, if you're going to kill me, kibala tuse delatya avucha. Then you're going to be makabel the curses that your father had given on me. Meaning, Shloimeh, David HaMelech had already given a klala on Yoav. Rashi says that, and if you're going to, Yoav said, if you're going to kill me, then then I'm going to get a kapara because of being killed. And then the curse that your father gave, that's no longer able to rest on me because I got a kapara, will go back to you. It's gonna have to go somewhere, so it's gonna redound back to his son, to you, Shloimeh. I mean, I would have said more pashut that he gave a curse on him that David cursed Yoav, and he was saying, if you're gonna kill me, then I was supposed to get punished with the curse, but instead you're giving me a different punishment. So now I'm not the curse. The thought I had was the curse was that you shouldn't have any children, but you're taking away from me the ability to have children, so then the curse can't take effect on me. It's the part of the klal is what it's about, how his descendants are going to suffer. In any case, but the point that was Yoav's tiny. He said to Shlomo, he sent back to Shlomo, to Benyo, to tell Shlomo that you can't do both to me. You can't both kill me and have a curse on me. So if you're going to kill me, then the klala that your father gave is going to go back on you. But if you don't kill me, then I'll accept the klala that your father had said on me. When Benyo said, relayed this message to Shlomo, Shlomo said back to him, go ignore what he said, go do what I said, upagabai, the kibrasa. Go kill him and bury him. Doesn't make a difference. Amr Yudamarav, Klol Kolish kill David as Yoav Niskaima Bizarre Shal David. And what Yoav had said, he was right. I mean, he said that the klala is going to go back on you, on the Bnei David. Let's talk what happened. Al Yichros and Beis Yoav, what was the klala? David had said, Al Yikaros and Beis Yoav, it should never leave the house of Yoav. Zav should be Zav, which is the type of tumah, a sickness that brings a tumah, u'metzaira and a metzaira, u'machzik bepelach, and people who can't walk, they need assistance to walk. V'neifel b'charev, and people killed by the sword. V'chasel lechem, and missing lechem. Now the Gemara is going to go through how each of these klalos were mekoyim by the Zari of David. Seems strange, right? That David made a klala on someone who was a married b'malchus, and Itaka was a married b'malchus, and it goes back on him, which the Gemara is going to end up saying, it's always better to be someone who's cursed than someone who curses. Making a curse on someone brings a big responsibility on the person who curses. You have to be very careful when someone makes a curse. It has to it brings something bad into the world, and it finds a place to land.
See, what goes around comes around.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like the thing we often say that when a tzaddik is geyser, it's always makaya, it's makuyim, and even if it's not justified, you have to be very careful with your words.
Assuming you're tzaddik.
Assuming you're a tzaddik. Well, if you're not a tzaddik, you certainly should. That's how you become a tzaddik. Anyway, how do you have all these kolos by the Zari of David? Zav Mirchavam. Rechavam, the Chsiv Melech Rechavam. Melech Rechavam was a descendant of David. His Ametz Laos b'Merkava Lonis Yishlayim. He picked himself up to go into the wagon to go to Yishlayim. Chsiv V'chol HaMerchav Asher Yichol Zav. We have a lashon of Merkava also by a Zav. Anything that the Zav sits on, like we spoke about before, the Drisa, the Tumas Midras. So we have a Gzeir Shava of Merkav to Merkav. So Rechavam was a Zav. Mitzaira Mezio. Mitzaira Mezio. Dechsiva b'cheskasai gava libai. With his strength, he became arrogant. Ad lahashtas. Until he did bad things. He was destructive. Ayimol b'Hashem Elikav. He was rebelled against the Hashem of Yavel Heichel Hashem. And he went to the Heichel Hashem, even though he wasn't a Kayan, he would did avoidus lahaktar al mizbeach haktaris. Uchsev v'atzaras zorcha b'metzchay machzik b'metzchay, and the tzaras arose on his forehead, meaning he was wearing I guess he was acting as a Kayan Gadol. He was wearing the tzitz, so with the makam of the tzitz, that's where he got the tzaras, to show it's because he was acting as a Kayan, even though he was from Malchus David, he wasn't a Kayan. Machzik b'pelach, where do we find that by the descendants of David that they lost the ability to walk? Ma'asa. When he got old, his legs got weak. He was stricken with pudgara, which is, they say it's a type of gout. What is that like to get this affliction? It's like a needle in live flesh. How did he know this? He suffered from it. May Rabbi have a gomer? He heard it from his rebbeim. Someone else had it, and they had learned it. The Moshe provides his secrets to those who fear him, and to those who accept his bris, he informs them of things. Happens to be, I've often heard, you always hear anyone who has gout says it's extraordinarily painful. So it's not strange that the Gemara would talk about how painful it is. Noivel b'charev, where do you have that the by Malchus David, that people were killed by the sword. Meshio, the Chiv, by Yoru Melch Yeshio, that they pierced Melch Yeshio, Amrav Yudam Rav, Sha'asu Kol Gufay Kekivra, they made his whole body like a sieve with so many holes in it. B'chasar lechem, what do we see that was missing lechem? In Yechanya, the Chiv, Aruchas Tamid, Nosnaloi. Rashi says that Nebuchadnezzar gave him a regular stipend. So I guess what that means is that without that stipend, he wouldn't have had bread. He had to depend on getting from an outside source. It's better to be the one who's cursed than the one who curses. Ashua Yoav Dayana. So in the end, Yoav was on the Mizbeach, and he was taken off and he was brought to Dintaira. Amalei, my time katlase la'avner. They asked him, why did you kill Avner? This is what the whole issue was. Amalei, Goyal Adam da Ashol have. He said, Avner killed my brother Ashol. So therefore, I'm the Goyal Hadam. Now it's hard for me to understand this. I don't think he killed Ashol by mistake. He killed him on purpose. Usually Goyal Adam is someone who kills him by mistake. So maybe he felt that Avner thought he was justified. He thought Ashol was being married by Malchus, so therefore he did it, but Ashol really wasn't, and that's why his brother would be treated as a Goyal Adam. Spek the Gemara, Ashol Roidev Hava. But Ashol, he was justified to kill him. He shouldn't have killed him. When Ashol was chasing him, he should have shot him in a place to disable him without killing him. So the Bezin said to him, how could you say that Ashol was not a roidif because Avner could have killed him without the whole thing is that Yoav is claiming he's a Goyal Adam because Avner killed Ashol, but Ashol was chasing after Avner, so it's self-defense. That doesn't allow you Yoav to kill him if he's protecting himself. So he said he could have disabled him. So they said back to him, but it's very hard to disable someone, right? You always hear that the police are instructed when you shoot to kill. You shoot for center mass. Amalei hashta b'doifen chamishis kivenlei. Since in the end he shot him in the fifth wall. What does that mean? The fifth rib. He hit him with the back of the spear on the fifth rib. By the fifth rib, the place that the liver and the gallbladder meet. So he knew how to do a killing blow and get him exactly at the right spot to kill him. If he has the expertise to kill him with one shot, he could have also disabled him with one shot. He could have hit him in the jaw and knocked him out. Amalei, nasal Avner. So I'll put aside Avner. So we'll leave aside Avner. Maybe we'll leave that aside. Maybe it was Taka justified that which he killed Avner because you were Goyal Adam and you have a good argument. My Tamakadlase la'amsha. They asked Yoav, in addition to killing Avner, you also killed Amsha. Amalei, Amsha married Malchus Hava. He was a married Malchus. The Siva Yema Amelech la'amsha. Hizakli as a Ish Yehuda Shloishes Yamim. I think it was David instructed Amsha to go collect the troops within 3 days. Vayelech Amsha lahazik as Yehuda vayuchar. The pasuk says, where's the pasuk? And he delayed when he went to collect those troops. He didn't do it so fast. So Yoav said he was a married Malchus, and that's why I killed him, because he didn't go get the troops expeditiously. It just crosses my mind, like what happened if Pete Hegseth said, I told someone to come bring me the troops in 3 days. He doesn't show up, so I kill him because he's a traitor. Seems a bit harsh. Amalei Amsha Achen V'Raken Darsh. Amsha was Darish Achen V'Raken. What does that mean? Ashachinu the Pachas Lahu b'Mesechta. He found that they were middle of learning. Amaksiv, Kolish Asher Yimbara Es Picha, Lishmes Dvarecha, Lecha Shetzivanu, Yumas. It says that anyone who will be Moira b'Malchus and not listen to what the Melech says, he's going to get killed. Yachal afilu l'divrei Torah. Maybe that's even where it's Keneged divrei Torah. And he's saying in this case that the soldiers that he was told to go get were in the middle of learning. So he says maybe that means that if you're married to Malchus, when he's telling you to be Mavatal Torah, he darshan from the end of the pasuk of married to Malchus says Rak Chazak v'yamatz. So Chazak, we always say Chazak v'nis chazek when we finish Masechta. That's referring to, so when the Torah says Rak Chazak v'yamatz, the Rak is telling you, although a married to Malchus is Chayiv Misa, but if you're being Mechazik Torah, then there's no Chayiv Misa. So that's why this Amsha didn't bring back the troops. So he wasn't really a married b'malchus, and therefore Yoav was a murderer for killing him because he wasn't really a married b'malchus. Ella hahu gaver married b'malchus. Elamai. So we really weren't able to track down. He didn't darshan Rak Chazak v'yamatz Yoav. So he held he was a married b'malchus, and therefore Yoav had reasons why he killed both Avner and Amsha. Elu gaver married b'malchus hava, but in the end Yoav was a married b'malchus. The siva shmua ba'ad Yoav ki Yoav not the achrei adanyo, achrei Avshalom. That the shmua came to Yoav that Yoav he was not the achrei adanyo, achrei Avshalom loinata, but he didn't follow Avshalom. So the problem was with Yoav. In the end, he was a married b'malchus because he followed Adoniyo, who was a married in David. My loinata. Practically, what does it have to say? Good. You're saying that Yoav was a married. He followed Adoniyo. What do we have to say? We have to say everyone who didn't do something. It says he didn't follow Avshalom when he was married. Why is that necessary to say? Rav Yehuda shebikesh lintais v'loinata. He was thinking maybe he should follow Avshalom and he didn't. My time nata. Why didn't he? Because at that time, David was still strong. Lechluchas means moistness. He was still strong. So therefore, he didn't follow Avshalom because he felt like David would win. But Adoniyo, that was when David was weaker. He was already old and frail. So at that point, he followed. So the Gemara was sort of saying, I guess the pasuk is saying, that Yoav wasn't the greatest tzaddik. He rebelled as soon as he felt like David was able to be overcome. He really would have gone after the earlier rebellion, but he just didn't think he could win. The warriors of David were still kayim. Normally it's tanigne, would mean the sorcerers, but Rashi has a whole explanation that it means those who provide advice. So this was his generals and his close confidants. David, where did we have this again? We had this earlier in the Sanhedrin. We had in Kedushin that David had these 400 choice soldiers. They're all children born from Isha Yefastaya that were captured in Milchama. They had like a Yavin haircut, a pagan haircut. A guys that they went at the head of the troops. They were the fist of David. He says that if not for David's tzidkus, his Torah, Yoav wouldn't have succeeded in Milchama, and without Yoav's Milchama, David wouldn't have had the ability to be Isaac and Torah. So I'm not sure exactly which part he's been chaylik. I guess it means in the end that David was opposed to Yoav, that he was saying that he was mired in David by Avshalom, but by Adoniyo, but we see that Lamaisa he wasn't. Maybe it means that when we said that he would have been mired by Avshalom, if not for the fact that he thought he couldn't win. But you see that they had a symbiotic, reciprocal arrangement, and they did benefit from one another. He David Isa Mishpur Tztaka L'chalamai. David did Tztaka Mishpur L'chalamai. Yoav ben Tzriya al Tzava, and Yoav ben Tzriya was on the army. Matam David also Mishpur Tztaka L'chalamai. Why was David able to leave himself off, to put himself away from the being Isaac in the Milchama? Mishum Yoav al Tzava, because Yoav took care of it. Matam Yoav al Tzava, David Isa Mishpur Tztaka L'chalamai. Yoav was able to be successful because of the Torah of David. Yoav went out from David and he sent messengers to Avner. This is going back to that which Yoav killed Avner. So he sent messengers to go capture Avner. And he got him back for Bur Hasira. My Bur Hasira. Because of a story of a bar and a sira, Rashi says the whole story that one time he went into David's camp and he took out a pitcher of water. David went into Shaul's camp and he took a pitcher of water, and the same thing with the sira was a type of thorn that David cut off. He took off from the end of the baguette of Shaul, and both of those times David used these things as rayas to Shaul that he had the opportunity to kill Shaul. And then Avner went to Shaul and said, no, it could be he got the cup from someone else, gave it to him, and the thing was cut off. Maybe one of your servants cut it off and he captured him. So don't go light on David. So that was why Avner was murdered in David.
That was when the show was still key.
Yeah. Yes, so he's saying, well, how could he be a murderer when he's not a melech? Because he betrayed him, I guess.
But then David ended up having him as a top general.
No, that's Yoav. It was the person that Yoav killed. Avner was also a general, yeah.
Was he a general for David?
He also was. He was, I think.
So kind of David used him and then decided to dispose of him.
I don't know the sequence exactly. Yeah, what does it say? There was Avner. Was Avner like this happened way before Avner? Was Avner already a general by David, or was just a general by Shaul? I don't know.
He was both, but I'm saying it's not. This is not a reason why he was murdered, because this is why Yoav wanted to kill.
This is the reason why he was punished at the end.
This is why, right? I'm saying, yeah.
So I guess this is David didn't declare Avner. Yoav really wasn't supposed to kill Avner. This is the cheshbon of why Yoav went after Avner. It wasn't necessarily a good cheshbon, because we see that he got killed for doing it. It's hard to keep track of who did what to who.
So what? So David didn't dispose of him, just
he kept him, and then Yoav decided to take the law into his own hands and get him killed. He came into the gate to talk to him Beshali. Din Sanhedrin. That he put on him the Din Sanhedrin. That he put on Yoav, instead of being Ma'ir b'Malchus, he got the Din of the Sanhedrin. My time they had this whole conversation that we discussed before. Why did you kill Ashol? And he said, Ashol roidev haya. So that's they went through the discussion. What does it mean? On that which al iske shaloi that Rashi says al iske shaloi loshen shel nalcha to take off your slipper. Sholoi ba'arama yivama gademes hayei chaletzes hiskel shoicha melefona marase kachi chaletzes b'shinavu sholav charbei v'hargai. There's a whole. He was able to overcome him. Yoav was able to kill Avner by saying, "Show me how a chayletz, a woman who's chayletz, takes off a slipper." He bent down to do it to show him, and then while he was bent down, he killed him. Then it says that just like Avner killed, who was it? I forgot which one it was. Ashol, by hitting him on this fifth rib. That's the way Yoav also killed Avner. In that special jujitsu spot. V'heshiv Hashem es domei al roishai asher paga b'shnei anoshim tzadikim v'toivim mimenu. And Rebbeinu Shalom paid him back that he killed two people, Ashol and Amasha, that were better than him. Toivim shahayu darshan achim v'rakim v'huloi darsh. They were better than him that they darshaned achim v'rakim. Like we said before in the Gemara, that because they said rak chazak v'yamatz, and really it was proper for Hamasha to bring the soldiers immediately, and he did not darshan this, and that's why he thought that Amsha was a murdered by Malchus. Tzadikim shehem bepeh, v'lei darsh. Tzadikim shehem bepeh v'lei asu, v'bigeres v'hi bigeres asu. They were given a verbal command and he didn't do it, and he was given a letter and he did it. Amsha loy nishmar, Amsha loy nishmar b'chev asher b'yad Yoav. What is this? It's like the pasuk. Amsha loy nishmar b'chev asher b'yad Yoav v'yikeu bo al ha'chomesh v'yishbech me Oyav artzav loyshon loy v'yometz Yoshev Avishay Achav v'rodav v'achoshev. Yeah, this is Amsha wasn't careful from Yoav, and he bent down. And he didn't realize that Yoav was going to kill him, and then Yoav hacked him. Amar Rav Shalei Choshtu. He wasn't afraid of him. He didn't realize that he was coming to kill him. Vayikvu bebeisai b'midbar. He killed him and he buried him in his house in the midbar. Atu beisa midbar. Who is his house a desert? Amar Vidam Rav k'midbar, like a midbar. Ma midbar mufka l'chol. Abeisha Yoav mufka l'chol. Yoav was in many ways a tzaddik, that his house was open to everyone. There was no stench of gezel, of stealing or arayas. He kept a very good house. I don't remember what this is. He gave everything that he had, he gave to Aniyim. Even the small things, the delicious things, he would give out to Aniyim. This talks about after the whole sugya about how Yoav did wrong. We say, but Lamaisa, he was a tzaddik. Like right until you're in fifth grade, you learn about what a Rosh Esav was, and then after that you hear about how Esav was a tzaddik, what he really meant. Okay. I guess we're going to start the next parak on Sunday. Matzah Shabbos, I'm sorry.
All right. Have a great Shabbos. Okay. Thank you.
Good Shabbos.
Whenever I think about this from a local, I think, maybe it's better that we don't live at the times.